Capricorns. I'm Amanda Beach with Cosmic Beach Consulting, and this is your Cosmic Surf Report for the second week of August 2016. Opening up this week, I see you guys being on top of your game, especially my Tauruses and my Virgos. Capricorns, I don't think you ever let yourself feel like you're on top of your game. So it's not that you're probably not out there believing and achieving, it's just that you might not be giving yourself credit for it. Typical. Now for Tauruses, this might be a week where you're finally getting some direction. Maybe you've had a sleepy summer. Maybe you've been a little overindulgent. Perhaps you haven't been living up to your own potential needs, wants, desires. So this week gives you the opportunity to kind of move some of those plans forward. Rather, that talks to you about educational plans. Maybe you're looking at certification. Maybe there's expansion in your own business, maybe buying up some more inventory, possibly learning a new skill. Whatever's going to make you feel like you're the king of your castle and you're in charge of your domain and you're the only magician at the store. That's really what we're looking at for you guys in this first week. At the beginning of the week, not the first week, second week. Wow. But we do see a little bit of a need for some toil, for some tending, for some work. So maybe this is more my Virgos, as we do have Mercury going into the shadow on the 10th, which is Wednesday, and that's going to be a Mercury retrograde in Virgo. So the caution in that is process and over-analyzing the process and really not struggling upstream. There was a great astrologer, go through my subscribe list. I have so many awesome people in there, but she was saying, you know, if anything starts to feel like it's not supposed to happen, you know, this month you really have kind of permission to be like, all right, I've heard, I'll come back to that. And so there might be some things, Virgo, where you've been really on top of it. The first week of August was amazing. You're getting all kinds of stuff done. And then all of a sudden you kind of hit that shadow and you're like, oh, you know, maybe you're missing some files. Maybe you're looking for some books. Maybe there's just, maybe the ideas just aren't coming as fast for how you want to make your system more efficient. So when I'm looking at this, it really talks to me about, you know, honoring the process, but not basically surrendering to the process. Make sure that you're in charge of it. Make sure the process isn't processing you. Make sure you're processing the process. This is certainly a week that calls for group activities and group support. We do have a full moon with an eclipse on the 18th in Aquarius. So that's going to lead up to some group changes, and we'll cover that next week. But this week, this might be focusing on the final throes of summer. This might be, you know, get-togethers, gatherings. There might be committees that you, Virgo, have been on that haven't met all summer, that you're kind of getting back to business with that. Those of you who have children, it's time to go back to school. Maybe you're seeing your school friends that you don't necessarily see socially in the summer. But there's a lot of highlights on group activities, especially in the middle of the week, and certainly for Virgos. Now, Capricorns, you on the other hand, you're over here just like nose to the grindstone. Who cares about summer? No time for love, Dr. Jones. Which is great, but I kind of would like to say, maybe if you're going to take your day off this week, Capricorn, if you could just take that day off, like instead of like making that day about errands or making that day about cleaning your baseboards or, whatever Capricorn activity you're into that day, whatever sort of productivity and hard work you're looking for, maybe give yourself a different sort of reward, and that reward should certainly be relaxation. And for Virgos, you know, let's try to watch how we're feeling about the process of things, how we're giving ourselves credit for getting things done, how we are dealing with blocks this week, because there's a little bit of energy. There's this Lady Eris, and she's in the sky, and sometimes when she's around, people get kind of aggressive, they get grumpy, they're having a hard time clearly communicating, maybe they're communicating with a little bit more fire. And so some of you who are earth signs, especially like earth rising and earth sun, or earth sun and earth moon, you know, that fire is just a little much for you. And Leo season has been hard on some, especially like Leo season is kind of tough on Capricorns because, you know, it's hard to take that much fire and that much drama at once. So there might be some bumpy situations for those of you in relationships. I do get a sense that, you know, there's going to be some buildup of letting go as we get closer to the full moon. Full moons are completions and endings. So if there are some, you know, if there's somebody you've been seeing and they're just not making it work out, if there's somebody who's not respecting your heart or your voice, you know, I highly advise, you know, kind of thinking about your relationships and taking their inventory. Of course, going into Mercury retrograde shadow, that kind of says like, oh, I don't know, big decisions are tough, maybe you should wait. Well, Mercury is retrograde 18% of the time, so we can't just hold on to everything. So if there is a relationship, especially a romantic one, especially one that's kind of been dragged out and on again, on off again, this would probably be a good week to inventory it and decide if that's something you want to keep, and maybe focusing on some completion and some blessing ways like, oh, thank you so much. Your time's been great. I'm so grateful. I loved growing with you, but maybe it's time for you to move on in preparation for that full moon and that eclipse. And that also leads to some of you who are finally getting out and about, maybe my Capricorns who have either had their nose to the grindstone or felt too guilty about not working too hard. This Friday, this coming weekend is a really good one when it comes to like letting your hair down, emotional connections, maybe some new romance. Those of you who are looking, those of you who are already involved, maybe this talks about reconnecting with your partner, taking some time. And those of you who have nothing to do with a relationship, this time we talk about self-care, because we need to love ourselves too. So maybe next weekend is a great time, Virgo, to book some pre-birthday spa time for you before things get crazy around your birthday. And then ending out the week, the big lesson of this week is to understand that like once you do have a vision and you are moving toward it, especially you, Taurus, you really can have what you need. The sky is literally the limit. And it also talks about expectations and keeping those expectations realistic and those expectations under control so that those expectations don't control you. My name's Amanda Beach. Thank you guys so much for liking and subscribing. You can follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/Cosmic Beach Consulting. You can schedule your individual session with me for tarot, astrology, and intuition at www.cosmicbeachconsulting.com. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you.